Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brandon Johansson. Tonight on The Now, Bakersfield aftershocks have continued to rock the state of Alaska after a 7.0 tremor hit last week. We talked to a native about the disaster's impact on his life. And a local toy drive is hurting for donations. Now the county fire department is helping out. Plus the details on when and where you can watch a holiday classic in your pajamas with hot cocoa and cookies. That's all coming up on The Now Bakersfield. Chris?
Topping our lineup here on The Now, a new study is raising red flags about the cost of treating diabetes. We're going to tell you about that. Also, we know fast food workers, they are getting paid more these days, and there's another big shift happening with workers. We're going to get into that one. We're also talking about the top toys for kids and the best news, as obviously a lot of us are shopping. You don't have to break the bank.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, aftershocks continue to rock parts of Alaska following Friday's 7.0 magnitude earthquake. The Now's Vanessa Romo has more on the Bakersfield native living in Alaska and how that earthquake impacted him.
A 7.0 earthquake rattled the city of Anchorage Friday morning, causing power outages, damages to roads and buildings, as well as evacuations.
Part of the road had fell away. Some bridges were cracked and not intact. Roofs falling in and tiles and lights and so forth.
One of the largest earthquakes to impact Anchorage, Alaska, a place one Bakersfield man now calls home.
Everybody just kind of looked at each other and we were like, whoa, what's happening? And everybody kind of just dispersed and found their little safe spot.
Bakersfield native Mike Milazzo was at work when the earthquake hit at 8:29 a.m.
And I tried to get a hold of my daughter at school, and she was in the bathroom at school when it happened. She said the plumbing was squirting up everywhere and tiles were falling out of the ceiling.
For Milazzo's daughter, her first earthquake and one of many aftershocks.
They were just unsettling. They happened every 45 minutes.
And continue till this day.
Just when you're about calmed down from one, another one starts up, and my daughter and I stayed up till probably 1 o'clock in the morning.
According to the Alaska Earthquake Center, there have been over 1,400 aftershocks since Friday, including 17 with magnitudes greater than 4.
It's just scary. My daughter's never experienced anything like that before, and I've only felt a few earthquakes in my life, but this one was pretty substantial.
And while many homes were destroyed,
he made it out pretty good, but his house didn't. He's going to have to move away from his house because they had some structural damage.
Milazzo's stayed intact.
Everything was good, and we were really lucky and fortunate.
And thanks his Bakersfield family and friends for all of their well wishes and support.
I do miss Bakersfield. I love all my Bakersfield family and friends, and appreciate the ones that called and checked up on me.
That was The Now's Vanessa Romo reporting. Well, during the holidays, the CHP is out in full force, not just keeping our roadways safe, but also making sure that no child is forgotten this Christmas. The Chips for Kids toy drive is put together by local CHP officers who collect new unwrapped toys and other items for infants, tots, and teens. CHP officials say that when they started the drive 9 years ago, they helped about a few hundred kids, but now they help about 4,000. The drive is accepting more than toys. They're also taking blankets, bikes, clothes, shoes, athletic gear, and more. The best part is that kids get to shop for their own present, making the gift that much more meaningful. If you'd like to help out, there's still time to do so. You can also drop off items at all local Walgreens stores, Motor City and the Auto Mall, the CHP headquarters, the United Way, and even right here at our 23 ABC News studios. The toy drive continues until December 17th. With Toys for Tots struggling to get enough toys for kids in need, the Kern County Fire Department is looking to help lend a hand. KCFD is hosting a week-long drive to help bring presents to children this holiday season. You can drop off new or gently used unwrapped toys to benefit infants, kids, and teens. The toy drive is scheduled to be held at the station on Downing Avenue. It runs until Friday. Meanwhile, Christmas will arrive early for 140 Head Start students enrolled at the Harvey L. Hall Child Development Center on Stein Road. On the morning of December 7th, Santa will visit each classroom, passing out toys to the children and nap time blankets for the toddlers, who range in age from newborn to 5 years old. Jolly Old St. Nick will be assisted by leadership staff from Hall Ambulance. Later that evening, the employees will return to provide the students and their families with hot cocoa and cookies, fun with Siren the rescue dog, and to take pictures with Santa following the school's annual Christmas program. In October of 2017, CapK's Head Start program renamed its location on Stein Road to the Harvey L. Hall Child Development Center in his honor. Chris?
A warning before you get another prescription from the dentist, because they are the leading source of opioid prescriptions for children. Typically happens when a child has to have their wisdom teeth pulled. According to new research published today in the Journal of the American Medical Association, children who got an opioid prescription from their dentist were more likely to get a second one within a year and were also more likely to have opioid abuse health issues. Also just out today, a growing number of people are skimping on their insulin because they can't afford it. Some people are even dying. The Now's Corey Rangel sharing one mother's story and how members of Congress plan to get involved.
The photos that I have around my home are memories.
Antoinette Worsham's daughter, Antavia, died at just 22 years old. Her mother says it's because her daughter could not afford to pay for insulin to treat her diabetes.
I miss her. Again, she had a whole life ahead of her, 22 years old, because she could not afford her insulin.
Antavia had type 1 diabetes, an autoimmune disease where the body does not make enough insulin. To stretch out her supply, Antoinette says her daughter started rationing her insulin and even used other family members' insulin.
When she goes to the pharmacy, she would tell me that the price of insulin was very high and that she couldn't afford it.
According to the American Diabetes Association, the average price of insulin nearly tripled between 2002 and 2013. A new report released today finds 1 in 4 patients with diabetes reported skimping on insulin because of the cost, even people earning up to $100,000 a year.
If you skimp on your insulin and your blood sugar is high chronically, you're vulnerable to really, really serious organ damage and premature death. So it's quite concerning.
We have to do something about it now. Otherwise, more and more people are going to die because they cannot afford their insulin and die at a very young age.
Senator Bernie Sanders highlighted the Worsham family's tragedy on his Facebook page, saying at the start of the new Congress, he plans to introduce legislation to bring down drug prices. For The Now, I'm Corey Rangel.
Corey, thank you. And next in our lineup, fast food workers, they are getting paid more these days. And there's another big shift happening with workers. We're going to get into that when The Now continues. Well, let's start the Now News feed with some new information on police shooting the wrong man at an Alabama mall. The family of a man at Bradford released a forensic exam today. It says he was shot 3 times on his backside. Police admit they shot the wrong person. New messages giving insight into how Jamal Khashoggi felt about the Saudi crown prince. CNN got access to 400 messages that he sent to a Montreal-based Saudi activist. He called the Saudi crown prince a, quote, beast and a Pac-Man who would devour everything in his path. Well, plenty of cleanup still in Alaska after that earthquake. The good news is shipping appears unaffected. Authorities still figuring out just how much damage was done at the port of Anchorage, but about 90% of all goods going to Alaska come through there. All right, well, next time you're at a fast food joint, you might want to take a look around because you may notice a little bit more of a seasoned staff. The Now's Nicole Val explains why fast food jobs are now turning into golden opportunities.
Will this be for here to go?
Like most in the fast food industry.
And will that be a large drink?
Sam Richards started working here as a teen.
I have been working at this Chick-fil-A location for 7 years.
But Sam better stay on his toes because employees like Miss Rhonda Williams
Y'all good?
are taking over more fast food jobs.
Whatever they need me to do, I love doing. There you go.
Thank you very
My
much.
pleasure.
Like more than half of seniors in America, the 74-year-old former event planner can't afford to fully retire.
And I wanted something that I felt like that I wouldn't take home with me, and that it would just be more relaxing for me, and so that's why I decided that I would apply for the hostess job.
Increasingly, fast food chains like this Chick-fil-A in Leesburg, Virginia, are seeking seniors like Miss Wanda to work.
She's always punctual. She makes sure that she shows up for her shift. She always looks really presentable.
Manager Danielle Odell says older employees are typically more reliable, better communicators,
That'd be a lot of fun.
and usually easier to work with than their millennial counterparts.
The stability that you get from an older team member really is nice to have.
Quality is one reason to hire elder employees, she says, but quantity is another. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, between 2014 and 2024, the number of 65 to 74-year-olds in the workforce is expected to increase almost 5%, while those aged 16 to 24 is expected to shrink, which is why groups like AARP are advertising to older Americans for jobs.
You don't need anything?
Like this.
Okay, good. I don't think they have the confidence maybe that I have to just go out and talk to people.
A golden gig, she says.
So I'm just blessed to have my job.
$8.97.
Keeping coworkers like Sam on his toes.
She just provides a lot of insight for how can I better myself.
Nice to see you.
In Leesburg, Virginia, for The Now, I'm Nicole Vowell reporting.
All right, Nicole, thank you. And a lot of changes happening when we file our taxes for this year, because H&R Block put out a survey that says almost half of us think that we're going to get bigger refunds because of the new tax law. But new data shows that people that usually receive a refund will actually owe money this year. So who will save under this new tax reform? Families with children may get the biggest refunds in comparison to previous years. Some homeowners and people who itemize are expected to get a smaller refund or even owe money. Now, there is some good news in all of this. H&R Block says fewer people in this group will owe money for 2018, even if they owed for 2017. Now, you are at risk of owing more money if you deduct business expenses from 2017 that have not been reimbursed. Experts say this mostly impacts people like truck drivers and others who travel for work and aren't reimbursed.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, if you are looking for a fun event to enjoy with the whole family and you don't want to get out of your pajamas, Reading Cinemas is hosting a showing of The Polar Express. On Saturday, December 8th at 10 a.m., Reading Cinemas at the Valley Plaza Mall will be hosting a pajama viewing party of the popular holiday film, complete with holiday cookies and hot cocoa available at the concession stand. Guests of all ages are invited to attend. Tickets are $6 and can be purchased on the Reading Cinemas app, at the box office, or online. Here's some information for you that you need to know if you plan on mailing any gifts or packages this year. These are the shipping deadlines to be aware of, so grab a pen and some paper right now. The United States Post Office ground shipping deadline is December 14th. For FedEx, the ground shipping deadline is December 17th. For USPS priority shipping, the deadline is December 20th, and the deadline for the UPS next day shipping is December 21st. Well, the 36th annual Christmas parade is gearing up to bring some of the holiday spirit to the streets of downtown Bakersfield this week, and you can be a part of it. That parade will make its way downtown this Thursday, December 6th. You're looking at a map right now of where that parade will go. It begins on 22nd and L Street. Several roads will be closed for the parade, potentially impacting your commute home. There'll be live performances, cheer squads, local politicians, fire trucks, marching bands, and more. You're welcome to come join Tim, Jessica, Allison, and other familiar faces at the parade next week. It's free, and you may want to show up early to get a good seat. If you'd rather stay at home, the parade will air live right here on 23 ABC starting at 6 o'clock. We'll also be streaming the parade on all of our social media platforms and our website, turnto23.com. Here's Allison Gargaro with a look at your forecast. Allison, nice outside tonight, but we have to worry about rain for the parade.
Unfortunately, rain chances are on the way, actually starting tomorrow, and that's going to be continuing through the Bakersfield Christmas parade, but just a 10 to 20% chance of rain. The parade does begin at 6 p.m., continuing into the evening, but we do know it's going to be chilly, 45 degrees at 9 p.m. on Thursday. But we are tracking a system that is going to be bringing strong winds, and ahead of that system, those strong winds are going to be picking up especially early tomorrow, continuing through the evening. So there is a wind advisory in the Kern County Mountains beginning at 1 a.m. tomorrow, continuing until 8 p.m. Some of the strongest winds are going to be down at the base of the Grapevine. So if you are driving near the outlets or down near that weight station, that's where we're going to be seeing the potential for wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So we will be continuing to track that as we head into the evening. But we are going to have better air quality than what we saw today. Still technically in the moderate range, but just 3 points away from the good range, and there are no restrictions, but burning is discouraged. And we are tracking a system that is hanging out just off the coast and is going to be making its way into Kern County, starting on the evening hours on Tuesday. So there's rain chances for us here in the valley, and actually some chances to see some snow up in the higher elevations. That's going to be overnight on Tuesday, continuing into those early morning hours on Wednesday. This is actually at midnight on Wednesday, so we see some rain or snow chances down in Fraser Park Pine Mountain Club, as well as up in the Kern River Valley. Now, as for temperatures, they're going to be dropping quickly. A high of 62 tomorrow, down to 56 degrees on Thursday. That's going to be a high, and then we are clearing up and warming up through the weekend. 64 degrees as a high on Sunday, and then we are tracking another system later next week. The Now Bakersfield will be right back.
Well, it is the season to deck the halls, from lights to garland, and even, of course, your tree. So, what does your family go with? It is a debate that happens across the country, a real or a fake tree. Here's the Now's Amy Taylor.
I love this time of year. There's all this holiday cheer, there's bright shiny lights and the beautiful decorations. But each year the battle begins, real versus
fake Christmas trees.
Yeah, real ones they smell better and they look nicer and they're not made out of plastic.
I've always had a fake one.
Definitely real, probably Douglas fir as well. And it's just the smell, evergreen smell is nice to have.
So obviously they have strong opinions on real Christmas trees, and I gotta tell you, there is nothing better than the smell of a real Christmas tree.
First point goes to the real tree, but there are plenty of people out there who opt for the fake one. And maybe this is why. We've all seen this video before. Yep, that's what can happen if you don't water your tree. 30 seconds and it's burnt to a crisp. So 1 point for a fake Christmas tree. And if you're a real tree lover, you're not going to like this one. A recent study done by Iowa State University Extension and Outreach found that thousands of insects and spiders could be hiding out in your Christmas tree. You know, the one you bring into your living room each year? So I guess that's 1 point for fake trees. To all the tree huggers out there, if you're wondering if cutting down real trees every year is bad for the environment, that's false. No need to feel bad. Michigan University says to think of the trees like lettuce or corn. They are crops grown on a farm and are grown to be cut down. As for the artificial Christmas tree, they are extremely cost effective. You can use them year after year. Over the years, maybe you've heard that artificial trees are toxic. Most of them are made from PVC plastic, which has traces of lead. But we reached out to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, and they say there's nothing to worry about. But some say a little trace is still enough for them to stick with a real tree.
Ho, ho, ho.
The final score? It's a tie. I guess it's up to you on what works for your family, but no matter what you choose, at least you're getting into the holiday spirit. For the now, I'm Annie Taylor.
All right, Annie, thank you. And tonight you may be joining us from Mom and Dad's house. Hey, no judgment here. There's new data from the census showing 35% of people ages 18 to 34 still live with their parents. Now, rising student debt, rent, health insurance costs, all contributing to this. The typical 25 to 34-year-old makes about $40,000 a year. So you factor in rent, student loans, a cell phone, maybe a car payment, and that leaves around $275 a week left over. Now, when you got to cover utilities, food, gas, clothes, health insurance, if that's even an option, depending on where you live, those costs are even more expensive. Now, New Jersey had the most young people still living with their parents, 47%. And you also see these states in red. See a good portion of the Northeast, California, Florida, and a few others higher than the national average when it comes to this. Housing a little bit cheaper in the states that you see here in green, and there are fewer people, younger people still living with mom and dad there. All right, finally in our lineup, and if you're shopping for a child for the holidays, hey, it is not always easy. We have the most recommended gifts. That is when the Now continues.
23 ABC and I are releasing a cookbook, Recipes to the Rescue, just in time for the holiday season. There is a recipe for everyone in this cookbook, from local favorites like Derek and David Carr, Congressman Kevin McCarthy, and all the anchors at 23 ABC. They are sharing their favorite recipes. You can find a link to pre-order the cookbook on our website, turnto23.com, and we'd love for you to attend our cookbook launch party on December 10th at the Mission. Again, you can find all that information on turnto23.com.
If you're shopping for a kid, look, we know it can be tough. And the Now's Annie Taylor is back to show us some ideas that won't break the bank.
Well, Chris, ask a kid what they want for Christmas and you'll likely hear a video game system, maybe a tablet or even a phone. But let's face it, that stuff is expensive and might not be the best gift. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics is reminding people that all these electronics can have negative impacts. A delay in speech and language development, missing out on a real playtime, but electronics are also cited as a contributor to obesity. That's all laid out in a report that was released today. The Academy even warns about those electronics that say educational, saying most usually only target memory skills. So what should you get kids? Well, think of old school, the stuff that you used to play with. Dolls, action figures, toy cars. They help kids learn to use words and their imagination. Blocks and puzzles and trains get their problem solving and motor skills going. Coloring books, crayons, markers, art supplies, well, that gets kids to be creative.
All right, Annie, thank you. And look, trying to squeeze in a doctor's appointment in your busy day can be tough, especially if you have a newborn. Tomorrow on The Now, medical house calls for infants and mom and why it's so much more than just a convenience for family.
All right, Chris, thanks. We'll come up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. One family spoofed a Hollywood classic when setting up their holiday decorations. It was all fun and games until someone called 911. That story and much more coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. Allison, it's been a fun weather time. We had that rain and potentially more coming, but now not too bad.
Not too bad. Just a few clouds making their way into the county and much cooler temperatures in the mountains. 30 degrees right now in Breckenridge, 31 in Pine Mountain Club, and 39 in Tehachapi. Still looking at the 50s here in Bakersfield. But we are tracking strong winds that are going to be picking up, especially in our mountain communities. Starting overnight tonight into those early morning hours tomorrow, the strongest winds are actually going to be at the base of the Grapevine, right near the outlet. So just something to keep in mind. There is a wind advisory in effect until 8 p.m. tomorrow. But then that is ahead of a system that is going to be bringing rain and snow to the county. That is going to be in the evening hours on Thursday. Looking at the chance for some snow overnight Tuesday into those early morning hours on Wednesday. But as for temperatures, well, they're dropping quickly down to 56 degrees as a high on Thursday for the parade.
Yeah, we hope it holds off and lets us get that parade in. All right. Thanks for joining us. That's going to do it for us on The Now Bakersfield. We'll see you back here tonight at 11. Good night.